Weddings are a celebration of finding the perfect fit. And with Indochino, you can design a custom suit made to your measurements. Go to INDOCHINO.com and use code PODCAST for 10% off any order of $3.99 or more.
All right, the first inning, unpredictable, but you can place a no-run first inning wager with confidence at BetMGM. Make a no-run first inning prop bet on any Friday MLB game. If only one run is scored in the first, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets up to $20. Take big swings all season long with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks and an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Log into your account, sign up to BetMGM today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Kansas only. New and existing customer offer. Opt-in required. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. I'm going to take the chalk here on this, Tommy. So if you're on BetMGM, just go into promotions. Make sure you opt into they call them Nerfy bets, no run first innings. I'm going to take the chalk, lowest total on the day, best starting pitching matchup on the day, Tommy. I'm putting mine with the Astros and the Mariners. Two pretty good offenses, but Christian Javier and Luis Castillo pitching in that game. And either way, it doesn't really matter because it's backed up by a bonus bet. So if you lose it, so that's mine. I'm taking the Nerfy in the Astros and the Mariners. The Nerfy is a pretty popular thing for people to do here with baseball.
Give me the Nerfy on the opening game of Athletics and Royals. I mean,
I thought about that one
so
too.
bad. They're so bad. I mean, the pitching isn't great either, so you never know. There could be a big explosion in the first inning, but I don't know. Give me the Nerfy in inning number one in that game.
Yep, I actually thought about that one. That was going to be that. By the way, that Nerfy is plus 100. The Nerfy I took was minus 155, so much better odds on your Nerfy. And again, it's backed up by a bonus bet, so it doesn't really matter. Probably if I had to go back, I might go your way on that just because the odds are so much better. But I already placed it. We'll be good. Astros Mariners tonight. That's my Nerfy. Those are fun bets if you've never done it. Getting the bonus bet might be a decent time to try it. All right, Tommy. Hunter Dickenson joins Kansas. And no matter how you stack the starting lineup, whether you put in Morris or Elmarco Jackson or, some of these other names, Chris Johnson, I don't know who it's going to be, but the bench is going to have at least Ernest Uday, and then whatever combination doesn't make it into your starting lineup. So they've got some depth at forward. They've got depth at center. As of right now, as far as I know, nobody has transferred out of KU. I cannot imagine that will stay that way, but they haven't. So this is a team that you just like. I sit here and think about this team and the starting lineup. Again, whatever combination you make of it, but one that features Harris and Dickinson and KJ Adams. And there's not going to be a college basketball team that I take over them to win a national title. I don't think. I'm trying to imagine some, scenario or whatever where this could change, but boy, I just don't. And Kansas right now, when this news started, they were at plus 1,600 at BetMGM. They're now at plus 1,200. I would never take a college basketball champion, by the way, at those odds right now. It just doesn't seem high enough for how hard it is to win the tournament. But to use it as a guide, they're the third favorite right now to win the title next year behind Duke and UConn. I don't know how you could take anybody over Kansas if you assume health for everybody, because Harris to Dickinson seems so perfect.
Yeah, the season starts like 6 months from now, and I'm already salivating over DeJuan Harris passing the ball to Hunter Dickinson. It's a dream come true. You've got one of, if not the best point guards in America going into next season, with one of, if not the best big men in college basketball going into next season. That's the pairing. That's the combination. And I think that's a massive, massive reason why Hunter Dickinson chose KU. It wasn't something that I think that he necessarily spoke on a whole lot when he talked about the reasons why he joined KU. I mean, there was the whole working with Bill Self and going to win a national title and all of that. But deep in there and buried in there, the context in that is being able to play with the point guard like DeJuan Harris, who can get him the basketball in a variety of different ways. And I think that that's got to be something that he thought about a lot during the process. He probably looked at the other schools like Maryland and Villanova, Georgetown, Kentucky, about what were their point guard situations like and how effective are those point guards in getting him the basketball. And I'm not sure that there was a better option in that regard than DeJuan Harris at Kansas getting him the ball.
I want to be careful, though, because I think what pops into everybody's head is Doak and Dot, right? Like, I want to be careful and not just assume that it's going to be like that was for that team. That's unfair, because that was some of the best point guard to center play I've ever seen at the college level. Like, it was unstoppable. I fully believe Kansas was going to win the title that year. I think, that was as good a team as I've ever seen in college basketball. And that's the obvious thing we think about when we think about Dickinson going, because you're like, DeJuan Harris is such a brilliant passer, and Dickinson's, but Doak was such a unique creature in college basketball. Like, the physical difference between Doak and Hunter Dickinson, to me, is significant. Hunter Dickinson is highly gifted, right? But he wasn't like this chiseled superhero-looking guy like Doak was. Now, Doak was, a lot of things and injury prone, but when Doak was healthy, like, he was kind of like Sheboy. It's just like unstoppable, right? I don't know that Dickinson is that. So and Dotson was so perfect for that. It could be that. Right? That could be what this team gets to, and it could be that unstoppable in those things. But to predict it, to me, seems just a little bit unfair to everybody involved because of how good Doak to Dot was. Like, maybe Harris to Dickinson gets there. Number one, they'll only have 1 year together, most likely, right? Doak and Dot had several. So, I don't know.
Both
I
Harris
want to be
and
careful
Dickinson
there.
have 2 years potentially left in eligibility.
I highly doubt Dickinson is going to be
know.
playing 2 more years of college basketball.
You never know.
I don't think he came to Kansas to do that.
To your point, though, I don't think it has to be Dot to Doak. It can be completely different.
It doesn't have to be.
It's kind of apples and oranges a little bit, because
it is.
I think Dot was a better scorer than Harris is. And so there was a little bit of a, like, Dot went to the hoop a lot. And I know Harris does that too, but I don't think he does that quite at the clip that Dot did. I also think that Dot was able to shoot the three a little bit more effectively than Harris does. Not that Harris doesn't, but I think that Dot was more of a scorer first and then a passer, where Harris is more of a passer first. The other thing too is that Dickinson can also step out from three and hit threes occasionally,
right,
where Doak was really limited to just within that, inside the circle. So, I think that there are some differences there. I'm not expecting them to perform at that level like Dotson and Udoka did, but I do think that it can be highly, highly effective in the way that those two guys are playing together.
And that's my point. Like, I just, like, Harris and Dotson, totally different players to me. And I from what I've seen from Dickinson and Doak, totally different players. So for that to be where everybody jumps, which is, I think, what naturally happens because of the recency bias, that's where it's like, no. Like, I don't want, because I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think they're just going to happen to have an elite point guard and an elite center. I don't think it's going to look like that lob show we had with Doak and Dot, right? Like, I just don't think that that's going to be the case.
And
that's
also,
not a bad
by
thing
the
either.
way,
It could be different in a good way.
By the way, I've heard a few people who have said to me, and not just after the commitment, but even before, like in the recruitment, after Dickinson put his name in the portal, I heard some people say, Dickinson's really overrated. He's not that good, blah, 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 blah. And then I thought, okay, well, have you seen him play for Bill Self yet? And do you know Bill Self's track record in developing bigs? I mean, we talked about it before. We've talked about guys like Doak and David McCormick. But even going back in time with Jeff Withey and Cole Aldridge and Thomas Robinson and the Morris twins, and like the list goes on and on and on of these high caliber bigs that Bill Self has developed and have had tremendous amounts of success playing in Bill Self's system. And so I don't know exactly what they've meant by saying, oh, he's overrated. I just think that there were some people that thought, there's all this attention on Hunter Dickinson when, and I think that the bottom line is that he was the best of the bunch in the transfer portal. That's why he got all the attention, regardless if he is a college basketball Hall of Famer or not. I have no idea, but he was the best available player in the portal this year, and Kansas got him.
This is part of my point. You hear people say he's overrated because people are like, well, he's not going to be as good as Doak was. And it's okay. Like, what does that even mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, give me a better center right now in college basketball. I mean, and I agree with you. Yeah, and Bill Self is as good, if not the best, at coaching that position based on a track record. So I don't know. Like, I think he's appropriately rated. The guy went for 19-9 last year. Like, you got to imagine that could get better. And by the way, there's opportunity there. So it's not like he's going to a place where his shots or his minutes are going to get limited. I don't think that's going to happen at all. He's going to. I'm the most excited legitimately for KJ Adams. Like, this move makes me the most excited for Adams and what that could potentially unlock. Like, if we're looking for some dominant offensive rim rocker that comes out of this, I think it's as good. There's a good a chance that it's KJ Adams as there is that it's Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson can be like a stretch center, but if you can free up the ability for KJ Adams to go up and get him, that's where I'm like, that's what has me so excited here is now Adams cannot be undersized, right? Now he's appropriately sized, and we know how athletic and freaky he is. That's what I'm excited about and what I want to see. And the defense too, by the way. Like, even if Hunter Dickinson scores 14 points a game instead of 19, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's just say it did. Like, the thought of Harris on the perimeter and those two down low defensively, that's why this team will be the favorite. It's not because of the offense. It's because of that. Right. They're going to have a chance to be that good defensively if, I don't know about the players coming in, the other two players, Timberlake and Morris defensively, and freshmen defensively are almost always a liability. But those three anchoring the defense, by the end of next season, if those three are healthy, Kansas, I'm not going to take any team defensively over Kansas.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, defenses have to account for Hunter Dickinson, not just in the post. They have to account for him all over the place. And so you would think that would, maybe open up some opportunities for the shooters for Kansas to get some good open looks. If that's, Timberlake and he's got an opportunity to, shoot the ball like he did at Towson at Kansas and maybe even more, that's going to be awesome. I don't know Arterial Morris that well. I don't exactly know how great of a shooter he is, but then I also know that they still have, at least right now, another scholarship available. They hosted Mackenzie Mbako on campus just the other day before Hunter Dickinson committed to KU. He's a 5-star recruit, decommitted from Duke, and it sounds like there's a possibility he could end up at KU also. There might be more roster turnover. I know that, the starting lineup as it's projected right now, that may not totally be the starting lineup when we get to the start of the season. So, I know that Bill Self is still out there working, but I think that finding shooters now, and they've already got a couple, but finding shooters that can help complement what Hunter Dickinson brings to the table, that's going to be ideal.
I wish there was like a Dexter Dennis out there, and there may be, like just an elite level defender that can keep you honest shooting the ball to slide into that spot. I hope that here's the point in that. Like, yeah, the Duke guy, Mbako, like those high pedigree guys like that, they already have enough of those. Like, I'm not as interested in that as I am like, go just find some scrappy, like, whatever.
I love the dude from Texas Tech. Jalen
kind of like
is
Kevin McCullough was, right? Yeah. Kind of like
Jalen
McCullough
Tyson's
was. Like,
a
just
wing
go
from Texas
get
Tech.
some nasty,
he is not committed yet.
Defender that can shoot the three when he's open. That kind of, go get that guy, right? Like, I don't need another McDonald's All-American. They've got enough of those guys.
You want a Marcus Garrett on the court is what you're looking for.
I want a Marcus Garrett on the court. I want a Kevin McCullough on the court. Yes, that's what I want him to do with that last spot. And they may have more than one because we do expect, both of us, that somebody will transfer out. All right, we'll come back. Let's give away something on our way out here. Let's do that, actually, Jad. We just got these. This is hot off the press here. The next sneak preview over to a movie at Boulevard Town West is Fast X. I mean, you know this is going to be good, right? Like, it just is. The early showing's on May 18th at 7 o'clock. We got a bunch of tickets, so we'll start giving these away in pairs. So if you want to go see Fast X before everybody else in a couple of weeks, you can do it on us at Sports Daily. Caller number 1 to the IHOP hotline, 869-1240. You'll get a pair of tickets. Jad will take care of that. We'll come back. More to give away, more to come here on Sports Daily on a Friday.